You're watching Around the Base Sports live on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. And here are your hosts.
I'm Amon.
I'm Drew.
I'm Christian.
And we are
Around
Duh.
Bay.
Sports. And I'm Jesse Hasso. We have a great show for you lined up today. We're going to be talking draft coverage. We're going to be talking about the San Francisco Giants and how the draft affects the Warriors going forward. So I think we could start with the San Francisco Giants first. They have been struggling to score runs, and that has caused a bad break in their record as well. Amon, what have you noticed over the last week or so?
Well, just from the last matchup, getting swept by the Marlins is quite embarrassing. Like, that team is still in a rebuild phase, so that might just gave them a boost maybe through their season, but that was just sad. They lost 12-4 in their last game. Like, we only got 4 runs against the Marlins, and it's just, I don't know what's happening. Could this trade have some kind of effect? Maybe Devers is just, he's kind of warming up a little too slow than we wanted him. Sure, it's just our anticipation. Really want to see this guy like hit, but when I saw we lost 12-4, I'm like, what is going on? You know, it's like, it's crazy. Like, we're still in the hunt, in the wild card, battling the Brewers and the Mets, but they did get a win against the White Sox, so a little breather there. But they gotta like sweep them, please, because if they even lose to them, something, I don't know what it is, but something's got to change.
Drew, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, like Amon said, getting swept by mine is definitely an embarrassment as a franchise, you know? Like, it's embarrassing for us. I mean, it's hard for me to kind of watch the team. I was kind of wondering if we're going to win today against the White Sox. You know, the worst team in MLB history. You know, that team lost over 100 games last season. So I was kind of concerned how we're gonna do after an embarrassing series against the Mars. You know, I mean, yeah, of course, it's obviously the trade might have a effect on the team, but like even with the trade, like we are still struggling scoring, and we can't like rely on pitching. You know, like even though Jesse, you saw a game on Wednesday. I mean,
Yeah,
you were there. The game that they should have won, but even our closer didn't do. He seemed struggling a bit.
Yeah, Duvall has been leaking oil his last few outings out there. We now turn to our pinch hitter for today, Christian Jones, filling in for his brother Jack.
Our special guest.
Have you been following the Giants this season so far?
So a little bit. First of all, big shout out to Jack. Sorry he couldn't be here tonight, but happy to step in and be the substitute pinch hitter, as you said. But it sounds like, obviously, like we're talking about here, the Giants got swept. They lost 7 of their last 10 games, and it sounds like they've given up 24 runs in 3 games. I played baseball personally myself up through college, so until I was 22, not anymore. But I can just tell you, when you're losing games like that, like, morale is very low. And from what you guys were talking about from just this conversation already, like, the fans are not going to be feeling good about their next few games, and especially their next game. So at times like this, it's really difficult as a team to go ahead and just turn around like that. The Giants are going to have to really lock it in. Perhaps with the trade deadline coming up, maybe they should step up and get busy and, think about making some moves. I mean, obviously with Devers coming in, that's a big step. But, sometimes it's hard to get the ball running and get things going right away when you join a new team. I can't really speak to that. Obviously, I'm frustrated, but, I'd imagine that's difficult. But, obviously as the fans, we need to see these guys step up for sure. So tough to see this on.
Like, in case if people don't know about the Giants, you know what their average is right now?
No.
232. I mean, that's just barely in the top 25. The Athletics are even hitting even a little bit more better, and they're in Sacramento. In case you didn't know, they were in good old Oakland. And yeah, it's just like, I don't know what it is. It almost feel like, was that Devers trade? I know we needed it, but maybe was it a little too soon for doing
No,
like
they needed something right then. Because without Devers, like I went to Wednesday's game, and yes, he might have not gotten a hit that game. He maybe got one hit, but he walked also, and he got a hit when it mattered in the ninth inning before it went into extras. He had a key hit that got in one run.
Yeah, because I mean, that stadium, it's pretty much almost a sellout every day since that trade, even beforehand, because people saw the hype with Willy Adames signing with the Giants. So that was a pretty big step, was mixed with Chapman. I'm like, Chappie, hope you're recovering well, but we need you. Since there's been the times I've seen him when he plays, they win most of the time. He's like almost the soul.
Just want to pull up this comment right here, but from Jack, sending us, thanking us for the shout out, and also he agrees that things need to change for the Giants.
You love it, Jack, by the way.
For sure. Agreed, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So far, the Adames trade, I don't feel like is working out for the Giants.
It wasn't even a trade. It wasn't even a trade. He just signed.
I'm sorry, the free agent signing.
Yeah, maybe that's signing, because I just felt like he was in his days with the Brewers were good, and he's been playing in that dome. In case people don't know, Milwaukee is the stadium is more of an indoor dome. Mm-hmm. So no air, no wind. You can just pretty much hit it wherever, and you won't have any effect. But unless the blinding sun of a Milwaukee summer, which I have experienced. But yeah, and I guess, I don't know. Maybe it was that, like, signing him for 6 years. I don't know what was the total money, but yeah, it's like he needs to step up a little bit. He's at 9 home runs in total so far in his career. It's been an up and down so far for him. So he's been low as hitting like just 200. Now he's probably at least 220. I'm just doing I'm spitballing, not sure entirely the average, but yeah, it's bad right now. And just hearing Christian 7 the last 10, if I heard right.
Yeah, that's right.
Even at home. I mean that place is like 40,000 fans. It's almost like it's already like a wild card. Like all the fans already know it's like a wild card game in there every time they want to see these beloved Giants.
Yeah, their lineup is struggling so bad that Bob Melvin has actually changed the lineup where Jung-Hoo Lee used to bat second or third. Now he's batting fifth or sixth, and Adames is right behind him after that.
So he's know the order this time.
I don't know if that's just because of the Devers trade. Not everybody could be at the front, or if it's also because they are struggling. But both players are struggling right now, in Jung-Hoo Lee and Willy Adames.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else on the Giants before we move on to what transpired the last 2 days in the NBA?
Like, I just feel like
today's game. Oh. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
For my words, I feel like they just need to lock in, because if you start a slump when we're almost near the All-Star break, it might not go well from there. You might either barely make it over some situations, but yeah, they just need to lock in. Hopefully turn things around with this win with the White Sox. Hopefully, they can try to kickstart a winning streak at least.
Christian, you mentioned since you played baseball, like when you've lost like a lot of games in a row or like a bad stretch, how do you get that morale back up to go out there and be able to compete at a high level again?
For sure. I would say in baseball, I mean, a lot of it's unpredictable. So when you get on a hot streak, you start hitting the ball. Like you just start getting on these pitchers and you're playing some good defense. Like sometimes that can happen. It's a really unpredictable sport. It's not really like basketball where you can just run up and down the court all day on another team if you're just way better than them. or football, you can just run down the field all day. I would say the unpredictability there. They unfortunately kind of have to get a little lucky.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of it too, if they come together as a team with their camaraderie, if they have some, if the team is cool with each other and whatnot, these guys come together, have a good talk or something, go out to dinner, do something that brings them together. Perhaps they could, have that sort of mindset where, wow, we really need to turn this thing around. Especially with the record. I know they're over 500, but obviously I'm sure they'd like to win a lot more games than from where they're at. So
Steve brings up a good point. How do we feel about Buster being the GM of the team? I think he's done a good job so far.
He's done a good job.
He's made some splashes. It's just about cohesion and making sure those splashes work together.
Yeah,
But I feel like. So yeah, like I said before, I didn't think that they were going to be instant contenders. I thought it was still going to take like a player or two until they're true contenders for the playoffs and potentially the World Series. Drew, I'm sorry. You were going to say something about today's game.
Yeah, with today's game, they actually they are tied with the Padres with the tie for second division, and the Padres has the season series against the Giants, and with Buster being the GM, he's done a good job. Like you and Hamon said, he done a good job. Like Jesse said, it's going to take time, and hopefully he can make more moves during the trade deadline coming up. And yeah, he definitely made more moves than Farhan did in his 6 years. So I agree, and yeah, I think he did a good job. So proud of Buster.
Yeah, I think we can move on to our next topic, which was the NBA draft. Me, myself, I didn't watch the NBA draft. On Wednesday, I was at the Giants game, and then yesterday I just lost track of what time it was coming on. So, but as we all suspected, Cooper Flagg was the first pick by the Dallas Mavericks. Aman, would you like to talk more about this?
I don't have I don't have a lot of input. We all expected Cooper Flagg. Hopefully, it might heal the Dallas fans. We'll see in his basis career with Dallas. See if he can just ease the fans. I know the Luka trade still a shocker to this point, but yeah, I don't have a lot of input. I'm excited of how he can change maybe the NBA entirely as the years go by.
Do you think he's a generational prospect since LeBron, or what?
Well, here's what's interesting.
I feel like it's too soon for that.
It's too soon, but here's what's interesting. When he got drafted, he's now the second youngest, which is actually it's the same years. It's the same years and months, but the days are only different by 4. So I think he was practically born like 4 days
Younger than LeBron.
Yeah, he was born 4 days before LeBron.
Where he was drafted from.
Where he was drafted. And in case you know, he's from Maine. So you don't get that a lot at a state from there. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see this Cooper Flagg. That's the question. Will he be like the next generation superstar?
Christian, do you think Cooper Flagg will be living in Luka Doncic's shadow by the fans at all? Or do you think he'll fit in quite well with the Dallas Maverick fans?
I think so. First of all, I think the Mavericks fans are like pumped to have him. From what I've seen and all kind of the talk on just sort of like social media, it really seems like Mavericks fans first of all, he was predicted to obviously go there, and he did. He was the first overall pick. It happened, just like everybody said. So I think they're real happy to have him. It'll kind of all depend just on how he can play with Luka. I mean, the thing is, this kid is 18 years old. Like, he's not like one of these guys that went to 4 years of college or like even a couple of years. Like, he's literally 18. It's going to be very hit or miss for him. He's either going to kill it and come out, he's going to come out on top and, keep it going for a while, or he could end up like possibly like an Andrew Bynum, who I think was like 17 when he started, but Andrew Bynum from the 2000s. He played well for a few years and then just fell off real quick with I think basketball overall. So I mean, given this kid's age, obviously I'm sure he's very excited to be at this point in his life already at just 18 years old. I mean, you guys remember being 18? Like that's crazy.
Like, when you see these NBA prospects like drafted, it's like, man, we're old. We're only in our like mid to late 20s. It's like these kids were born like after 2000.
Literally 2006. This guy.
Yeah, with these like special gifts they've got, and it's just like, what about us? Can we? You know, it's like.
Well, you guys, we all have our own special gifts.
Yeah, we all have it. We do.
But it might not be basketball, but we do. You guys do for sure.
But it's just crazy to just hear a kid. Oh, he's 18. It's like, what? He skipped like 5 grades, like elementary, goes to middle school, skips high school, joins like some basketball program.
Right. So we'll have to see if he lives up to the hype. Obviously, he's the most hyped guy right now. We've been hearing about him all year.
I'm afraid that he's going to turn into another Zion, though. Like, Zion has been good when he's been out there.
What do you think? Like with injuries or what?
Injuries, and it just seems like he has a lack of, I wouldn't say focus, but a lack of love for the game to keep him out there, I feel like.
Really? You think so?
Because his condition, like Luka, his conditioning has been questioned, and you've seen it on the court. Like, he's shown up overweight, and that adds a lot of stress to his body to be able to do the things that he needs to do in order to play well.
Well, he is a bit mature because when he had his talks, he was like well, he knew what to say, like he wasn't too nervous. Because some of these prospects when they get drafted, they get a little nervous, you know.
True.
But of course it's the dream, but it's like some of these, you know, they get a little they weren't prepared for some of this for a talk.
For sure, I'll say too, like with your comment about just like, I guess his weight, like when these guys get to the NBA too, it's like a whole nother level, I think, of workouts and whatnot. I mean, we saw it with Chet, for example. Like Chet was a pencil. He's a little bit less of a pencil, but
he gained
thicker pencil now from coming to the NBA and doing these, like, you know, these professional workouts and working with these guys. So, hopefully, obviously, this guy gets his body right and whatnot. I mean, I've seen some pictures of Luka lately. It looks like he's really slimmed down. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. He's like mega slimmed down. So, I mean, that could make him more dangerous. More, you know, he could be quicker on the court. Who knows what the advantages could end up being from it? But I think the NBA, just him getting there, he'll definitely have all the tools he needs if he wants to get in shape.
Now let's talk about the Warriors. Their draft picks. They got 2 players in the second round. Drew, do you want to give the stats of first the names and then the stats of the players that they got in the draft?
So the two Warriors draft pick was Alex Tusi. He's from Europe, and then the other one is Will Richard. He's a guard from Florida, which
the 2 guys from actually Australia or New Zealand.
New Zealand, by the way. Wrong country. Will Richard is a 3D type of player where he actually contributed to when the Florida team won the national championship. He was under spotlight with the likes of Walden Clayton Jr., who ended up winning final for most outstanding player. He got drafted 18 overall, and he had 18 points, which kept them in the game in the national championship game. And Alex Tusi he actually was planning to go to Gonzaga, but he actually decided not to go to Gonzaga and go to the NBL, which is the professional league in Australia. And they said he has a really good field game, and he only averaged like a little over 10 per game last season. So I think that like Amon said in the pregame, kind of looked like a Quinn Post type of player. So I think that's what got him, both of them.
Do you see either of these players being difference makers and factors for the Warriors? I'll ask Christian this if you know about these two players.
So the Warriors 2 picks.
Yes.
That's Alex Tui and Will Richard.
Yes.
Yeah. Richardson, but yeah.
So I don't know much about them, but the biggest thing that jumps to me off top is the fact that these guys did not draft a center. I think at this point that's their guy, like that's their biggest need. I mean, now it's been a few years at this point, which is crazy how time flies. But they tried with James Wiseman, and that ended up just for them. I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure if he's in the NBA currently. I think he might be playing overseas, but a bust basically for the Warriors.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I mean, obviously, these guys can step up and play well with the team. Sounds like one's a forward and one's a guard. I mean, Warriors got some good forwards and guards, but I'm biggest hope here is that they step up and find a center, because that is going to be, I think the missing piece for them.
Since you said that, there were reports on another Australian player named Zarkowski, and he was like 7 feet. I don't know his weight, but I was kind of looking for at least that guy, but just with his height, I don't know much of his stats or anything like that. But there was reports in the second round was the target. But apparently, in case you guys didn't know, Warriors trade back. Not sure why, but they actually where they were, they could maybe got Zarkowski. I think he went to the Bulls, but yeah, Richardson. In case you didn't know, Florida was in the national championship against Houston. It was a battle. It was probably the best one we have probably since the Villanova North Carolina game, I'll have to say, because in general the way the versatility of the game itself was amazing. But yeah, Richardson, he contributed in that whole season. He averaged 13 points, 2 steals, 2 assists. He's as Drew said, he's a 3-and-D guy. There might be things to improve down the line, but I think we'll probably see him in a Warriors uniform pretty soon. And then as for Tui, as I said, Drew mentioned in our meeting, that he's almost like a Quentin Post. He just needs to work more on his shooting range, but he's good when he's versatile. He's slightly more aggressive, and I saw an insider saying he could actually fit the system, since Steve Kerr's system is known to use forwards and guards a lot, and if you can shoot threes, you're on the team pretty much. Because that's just how we've been rolling for these past years, even during the Dynasty era. So yeah, but I look forward to seeing them soon in the uniform. But speaking of the Warriors, during the draft in the first round, they were talking about when the Miami Heat were on the clock, there was actually interested in Kuminga, and it seems like we don't know when this happened, but they might have been discussing of a Kuminga trade, they were maybe slowly talking about it as they were doing the Jimmy Butler trade. We don't know. We don't know where this began, but when I saw that, I was like, well, this is interesting, because I think Jesse, I don't know if you mentioned what was the signing target for him?
The signing range,
yeah,
salary?
was it it was something
plus,
three?
It was $200+ million something.
Yeah, but it's wasn't it 3 years or 6 years or something?
No, it had to only have been a 3-year.
Yeah, 3 year. But it's just there's the Kuminga trade it's looming, so it might happen. We don't know. We'll see during the off season. But Kuminga, as the Warrior fans, as the crew you have here, we're all Warrior fans, and we always want to see Kuminga grow over time. We figured the excitement behind him and the way he plays, he could maybe go when Curry retires, he can still be there, and hopefully maybe he'll become a leader, because he's been learning from Draymond and Curry and all that. But this year it's we don't know. During the playoffs, when Kuminga was on the floor against the Timberwolves, the Timberwolves almost. Say again?
He played great.
Yeah, he
I
played
blame
great.
Steve Kerr for this.
Yeah,
he,
like
he
I don't.
mismanaged his career so far, and then benched him when we needed him most in the playoffs. We needed scoring, and then went to him when he finally had no choice but to go to him. Kuminga proved that all he needs is minutes. That is all he needs to show the type of player that he can be.
Starter minutes, even. Like, he shouldn't be in the starter lineup practically the whole series, and that might have been a good shot for the Warriors to move on. Because when Curry got hurt, unfortunately, if Kuminga was, I just feel like with Kuminga, with his speed, and because his speed competes with his league, because right now it's just speed and height and all that. It's, you know, this NBA, the pace of this game is quicker every year because all these young talents that get entered. But yeah, it's just, I don't want Kuminga to leave, but seeing what happened last year, I'm not mad. We've really mismanaged it. Somehow with this Jimmy Butler trade, we were all focused on Jimmy since he's another veteran, has a lot of experience, but you know, he didn't really become the dog we wanted him to be.
Christian, what are your thoughts on Kuminga? And we have somebody in the chat. We got Juan Jones saying Kuminga is only 22 years old. We have been developing him for years. Now it's time to keep him and let him blossom. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
I
me
agree with
too.
Juan Jones's comment as well.
I agree.
We
all agree.
We want to see that. We want to see him keep growing.
I just wonder if this relationship is beyond repair between him and Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
Because
hopefully they work things out.
for whatever reason, he doesn't play him. No. But yeah, sorry, Christian.
No, all good. So yeah, I looked into it kind of a while back, and it kind of sounds like Kuminga has been having contract issues with the Warriors. Essentially, they offered him, I can't remember the exact amount, but basically, I think they offered him maybe like 30 mil or something, and he wanted like 35, and he didn't take their offer. So I think he's right now he's like non-guaranteed or whatever. He's like, they're looking to essentially trade him possibly. And I think him not taking that contract is kind of probably ruining his situation with his teammates a little bit, because they're like, okay, you're not really seemingly committed to the team, which is really a shame. Just like Juan said, like, they really need to keep him to let him blossom. We've already seen him be hot on the Warriors. Yes. One that I believe that they got at the same time as him was also, I believe, Moses Moody.
Yes, same draft.
And when Moody started off for the Warriors, he was like pretty insignificant and was like not that good. And now we see him, and he was at like All-Star Weekend, I believe, this past year, skills challenge. Like, he has totally stepped up for the Warriors. Another one too, kind of unrelated, but I think most improved Warrior, Guy Santos. Like, when Guy started, Guy Santos, as I call him, when he started, he drove me nuts. I was like, how is this guy on the Warriors? Like, he is not. And now, like, Guy is a sick contributor for the Warriors. Like, these guys have shown that with time, they get confidence and they end up playing to their ability. And Kuminga's already a guy that we've seen like play extremely well for the Warriors. So it really would be a shame to see him go.
I agree with you. Like, looking at Quinton Post, like, he somehow became a contributing factor this season. And even though his legs seemed to have fallen off in the playoffs, he seemed to do pretty good during the regular season to get them there.
He did fall off in the playoffs, so you're totally right about that. But that's another good example. Post. Like, the Warriors, they seem to develop these guys. They seem to have a sense of like comfort on the team. Obviously, there's been certain situations like with Jordan Poole and then KD or whatever, but specifically that kind of seemed to stem from Draymond. However, I think, you know, a guy like him who's a major leader for the Warriors along with Curry, but a guy like him, you know, I think hopefully, even with his text, we still see, but I think hopefully he's learning that with his teammates, that, you know, when we're able to keep him around and have you know, just a good relationship with each other, we can develop. And, you know, we've already seen so many guys improve on the Warriors. So
Yeah.
Ramon, do you think this relationship could be mended, or do you think his time with Golden State is done?
The future it's clouded. We don't know. Hopefully they can clear it up. Like I guess another thing that may discuss is Kurt, because as we say, Warriors are really built. If you can shoot threes, you're pretty much on the team. Post, he can shoot a three here and there. We know Kuminga, every time he shoots a three, he makes them and misses some. And
Steve has an interesting comment. Also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm seeing the comment.
Finish.
I see the comment that Steve's saying is Kuminga the next Harrison Barnes?
I think Kuminga is more athletic.
Yeah, he's more athletic, but
and he has a better 3-point shot than Harrison Barnes.
So yeah, that's the thing. The 3-point. Is it like what? Kuminga can't shoot threes, so it's like, okay, you're meant to drawing down because you can't make shots, but he's known to just posterize anyone that's in the paint. So it's like, do we need to change the system? It's just like Kuminga could practice shooting threes, but seeing the way he plays, it's slightly different. But as Juan said, we want to see him blossom. We saw it in moments, but as soon as those playoffs hit, it's like what happened? I know we put a little too much. Yeah, we put a little too. Curry put too much trust on Jimmy when Curry got hurt. Unfortunate.
See, I don't think this was Jimmy's fault. I do think he should have taken.
I'm not blaming Jimmy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean fault, but I do feel like he passed up on some good shots, but for I don't know what reason. But I don't really blame the Jimmy trade for this. It's just Kuminga. It was the timing of the trade because while they made that trade, Kuminga was hurt, so it was hard to integrate him back into their system with Jimmy Butler.
Totally agree.
But yeah,
Drew, were you about to say something also?
Well, I want to say he's the next Harrison Barnes. If, as you know, we all remember, he struggled in the finals in 2016. You know, especially the last like 3 games. I mean, like, I want to say he's like the main reason we lost that series, but like still, like, you can't underperform like the biggest game of your life, you know? Like, at least with Kuminga's case, you know, like, he actually stepped up, like, you know, he actually stepped up in this series against the Timberwolves, you know? Like, I feel like he was the only one who, like, cared about winning, you know? Like,
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't say care about winning, but, like, you know, he had, like, more purpose, you know? Like, you know, I wouldn't say care, but, like, I don't know a word for it, but, like, he seems like he was super locked in, you know?
Yes. Do you guys have anything else before we end today?
Well, I guess, hey, guys, do you know there's a guy named Hansen that was drafted?
I did not know that, actually.
There's a guy from China
Yep.
that got drafted at the 16th pick from the Blazers when they traded back from the Grizzlies. And that was like the biggest trade. It's like he was projected like at least an early second
round.
But
yeah.
I heard the name Hansen and I was like, Hansen. And it was just an exciting, I don't know, moment because I was like, usually when you hear Hansen, you don't expect like as an Asian next to an Asian first name.
That's but Yang Hansen, yeah.
Yang Hansen. In case you guys didn't know, his hand was 10 inches, which is actually like for this year's combine. I don't know what was the word for it. Biggest, I guess, or like. So anyway, I'm just excited because I was like, a Hansen got drafted, but he's from China. He was in the. He was playing those Chinese basketball leagues, like something Eagles, but I don't know completely much about it. But it was just hearing the name Hansen, and he's from China. It's like, what?
Wow.
I should probably just get his jersey just because, like, hey.
You have to. Come on.
Yes. I might have to now.
You guys see what he said in his pregame, like his press conference? He said.
I didn't get that. What did he say?
He said, like, other than basketball, I like to sleep and I play video games. I like playing on the PS5.
We're related.
Yeah.
We're alike. But yeah, I just thought to share that because I was like, Hansen drafted in the 16th pick in the first round. I mean, that's like that's probably the biggest trade for a guy that's supposed to be in the second. He was in the stands.
No.
He
Yeah, it
even
wasn't
he even like hugged his agent when he went down. Like he came down and just like, you know, bro hugged his agent. But I just thought to share that. It's like in case you guys did not in case he watches it, my last name is Hanson. So but yeah. Wish of luck for him in his career.
Yes. Drew, any final thoughts before we close out?
I feel like the Giants need to make a splash for a trade deadline for sure. I don't know who, but you know,
Trade
we
half the
definitely-
roster for a different roster. I don't know.
I don't know, but you know, you can't average 232 as a team. You know, batting average as a team. You know, like I don't know who should we get, but like we definitely need like a. Hopefully, Buster can make a splash on the right timing. You know,
Yes.
but yeah.
Christian, any final thoughts?
For sure, Giants are going to have to show a lot of grit to turn things around. You know, hopefully the Warriors picks they perform and we see them kill it and they stick around for a long time and are worthy of getting their jerseys at some point.
Yes.
Hopefully Kuminga does not leave the Warriors. We'll see how that goes, but if he does, hopefully they get something real nice in return.
Would it be a Giannis? Who knows? I'll just say that right now. Would it be a Giannis
knows?
horizon?
We'll see. Knock on
Hey,
wood.
if the Bucks, like Giannis, Kuminga with the Bucks, I mean, that's really not bad at all. Because I'm a Bucks fan, but it would be sad Giannis leaving. Hope he stays. He was actually watching the draft just to see how his team does. I know they were the second round, so not like there's great prospects, but this is more the development types to grow over time. But we'll see. So Giannis, will he stick or join the Warriors, and maybe that will finally help Curry out, or at least put less stress on Curry too.
Yes.
And hopefully hopefully Draymond doesn't get into Giannis's head. We don't want that scenario happen again.
Yes.
Yeah, especially the Jordan Poole situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, that is our show. Once again, let's give it up for Christian stepping in for Jack today.
Sorry,
Hopefully-
Jack couldn't be here, but shout out to Jack.
Yes, Jack.
Hopefully we see you in future streams. Substitute any of us really.
Hey,
Two.
I'll be ready. First one off the bench.
All right.
The sixth man.
Let's go.
Sixth man, pinch hitter, 12th man for football.
But yes, I would just like to thank everybody for watching Around the Base Sports. Please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time with our next Tuesday with our next live stream at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining.
Also, follow us on Instagram.
See you next week.
See ya.
Have
Deuces.
a good weekend, everyone.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Peace.